Hi everyone, I'm Elad. I'm a CSS HTML architect at investing.co. Besides this, if you recognize my face, you are maybe members in the CSS Master Israel Facebook group that I founded 6 years ago with 4,500 members. And if you are not there, you are all welcome to join. Besides this, I'm writing a lot of articles on CSS. You can find them in medium.com in this link. And I'm lecturing a lot in Israel in every meetup and conferences. And this is my first time that I'm lecturing in English. And I'm very hope that you will enjoy it. Before that, I started to work at investing.com. I was working 6 years at Walla News. It's a big media company in Israel, and I came there to create a new redesigned website for all Walla website. And the second thing, I needed to create a responsive website. And I came there in 2012. And I didn't even try to use responsive design before. And I researched in the internet the best practices of responsive web design, and I didn't find anything that I like. And when I don't find anything that I like, I'm starting to creating my own best practices. I'm just playing with the code, enjoying it. And from this, our lecture is starting. Now let's get started. Before starting to use a responsive website in your project, the first important thing is to range your project correctly. And I see a lot of senior developers, junior developers, no matter which, all those web developers are making a big sin. They don't so much care about the CSS. And they act like it's something that isn't so important. And when you're looking at code and you don't appreciate very much, like CSS sometimes of the web developers, and it's happened in all the programming languages. The code is beginning to be spaghetti if you don't create it properly. And CSS can be the worst spaghetti code can get, really the worst. And it's starting to look like a long giant chunk of cascading style shit that is so long that nobody can read, and you're starting to create more classes for the same styles, but no one can understand this shit. And when you need to write new styles, where you put them in the bottom of this big garbage CSS. And I'm sorry if I offended anyone. And what to do? Nobody can read it, and after 2 or 3 years, you need to create the styles again and you redesign because nobody can use this project. And the first important thing when creating a responsive website or any website is to arrange your code properly. And CSS is one of the most important things. As in all programming languages, you can use the same ideas. Components, very easy. You use them when you're creating JavaScript code and server-side code. And you need to use the same names that the JavaScript developer is using or the server-side developer is using. And you need that your project manager will talk with you in the same languages of components, and the web designer will talk to you with the same language of components. Because if we are all talking in components, we are all understanding each other a lot better and creating a better code and a better stuff and not fighting. Because when people don't understand each other, if it's with the web designer you're talking with him, you will fight because you are looking from 2 perspectives that doesn't have any connection. As the most important thing is connection with all your co-workers. As we're creating, we separated our ideas into small component files in SAS. And yes, I forgot to say, when working to range your project, you have to use a preprocessor. I'm using in this lecture the SAS preprocessor. You can use whatever preprocessor you like. But in this presentation, I'm using the SAS. As I'm separating all the components to small files, very small files of ideas, the same ideas like in the JavaScript and all the others ways. And let's look on one of the component files. This is a breadcrumbs component. I wrote it, I think, 1.5 years ago. And because it's a very small file, it's very small code. It's only 50 lines of code if you take the notes out. And yes, I'm writing CSS properties in one line. I think it's a lot more readable. Yes, I know you are all thinking that I'm crazy, but let me explain you how I'm looking on code. When I'm looking in an old CSS, and by I mean an old CSS, it's a CSS that may be written 1 hour ago, 1 week ago, 1 month, 1 year, it doesn't matter. The first thing that you're writing an old CSS is to catch the CSS selectors. And you want to catch them in a glimpse, like that. And when you have a small file, it's a lot easier. And when you are writing your old properties, you can see those all the CSS selector very easily. And the first thing I'm reading an old CSS file, I'm searching the selector from the top to the bottom, and I find them because of that very quickly, and beginning to read the code from left to right, all the properties. I'm thinking and reading like the L letter. Starting, find the selector and read. And if you see all these styles in one catch, in one screen, you maybe can understand even the HTML, the structure of the HTML of your code. And yes, I'm the 10% of 100% that is writing CSS in this way. It's a big tip, but it's not the most important tip in this lecture. You can take it or not, but try it. You can just earn from that. Okay. The second thing then, when talking about a responsive design, there are two methodologies in the web. The first methodology is the desktop first methodology, and the second one is the mobile first methodology. Let's talk which is better and why there is this two methodology. In the beginning of the web, there were only big screen. And a lot of the web developers or the web designer, it's hard to them to think first in the small screen, because this was the first website. And in the beginning of the responsive website, when we first started to create this first website, we needed to support Internet Explorer 7 and Internet Explorer 8. And Internet Explorer 7 and Internet Explorer 8 does not support media queries rules, yes, of responsive web design. And this is why some developers are using the desktop first methodology. The second methodology is the mobile first. Mobile first saying that if you are starting from a narrow screen of mobile, for example, we're creating a very simple CSS for the mobile device, and just if we need more style, we can put them for bigger and bigger screen. This way we're creating a lot less overrides, and overrides in CSS are evil, very evil, and I will learn you in this lecture how to create a lot less overrides. Besides this, you can maybe think in others way to write a better CSS. I'm not using this method, but it's maybe to separate the styles of the mobile to a separate file, and only if you have the screen is bigger, to load another CSS file. And if it's another bigger screen, you will maybe load another CSS file. For example, the mobile will load only the first file, the tablet will load the second file, and the desktop will load another file. I'm not using this methodology or this way of loading separate CSS. It's a little bit better for performance, but it's just a little bit better. And for me, it's more important the readability of the style. And just because of that, I'm not using a separate CSS file. Okay then, which way is better? Desktop first, mobile first? Don't answer me now. I have a surprise for you. Where are you putting the CSS Media Query? Let me think, where are you putting your CSS Media Queries? You have the long junk CSS shit, sorry if I offended anyone. And where are you putting those CSS Media rule? You put them in the bottom of this junk. And what is the problem with putting them in the junk of the bottom of your cascading style sheet? The problem is, what if you need to update old component, and the style of the component is in the top, and you have some major rules in the bottom. You're updating the component in the top and forgetting to update them in the bottom, and your code is breaking. And the second issue, what is you're updating the class name? You update the class name and you're forgetting that you have the same class name in the bottom of the major rules, and your code is breaking again, and you're so afraid to write a responsive code, CSS code. And this is a big, big problem. But now it's very easy to solve it, because now we have small component file. And I just can put those major rules inside this component SAS file. And yes, this we can only write on SAS preprocessor or other preprocessor. I'm using the same major rule inside the component. And yes, in CSS you cannot write the major rule inside the class name. But the preprocessor he understands what you are trying to do. As rewriting all the basic styles in here and the media queries of this same component in the same file, and we're earning two things. First, when you see a small file, it's easy for us to understand that there is some media queries for the same component, because you see it in a glimpse, because it's very, very small files. 50 lines of code, 60, not more than that. The second thing that is the most important, because you cannot write media queries inside the style components, the SAS preprocessors know that you need this class name inside this media query. And this SAS code will be like this when it's compiled. You see, the same class name is duplicated to here and here. And if you're updating the class name in one place, you don't need to worry anymore. Understand the idea?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay then. But what the problem when putting the media rules inside every component? And it isn't performance. There is a big, big problem when putting the same media rules in every component, every of each component. You can think maybe that you have maybe 70 components with the same media rules over and over again. And in the last night, the web designer slept and thought, this is component A and this is a component B, okay? Different components with the same media rules. And we maybe have 70 components, okay? Yes? Understood? Yes. And in the last night, the web designers fell to sleep, and before he go to sleep, he told to himself, I don't like that the second media query is starting in 551 pixel. I want it to start in 500 pixel. And you have now 70 components with at least 140 places to change these media rules. And if you will try to do it by hand, you will make for sure some mistake, because no one can correct so much code and not creating mistakes. How can we solve it? Anybody has any idea? Mixing? Import? SAS variables, you're correct. Very easy. You can put every of those media rules inside a SAS variable. Every breakpoint in a separate SAS variable. And yes, I call them break 1, break 2, break 3, and I don't call them mobile, desktop, and tablet. Anybody has any idea why I don't call them mobile, tablet, or desktop?
Because it can change.
No. Let's say, for example, this is our mobile, yes, this is an iPhone.
Viewport dependent, not device dependent.
Yes, but let me explain them for you to be more. This is a mobile device. All the mobile devices in the world maybe are not more than 500 pixels. And if you are writing your screen, you are getting to be in a tablet or tablet resolution. And the landscape resolution, but it's getting the tablet style of the media rule. And tomorrow, the project manager is asking you why the breakpoint of the tablet is in the mobile device. And you can never know which devices you are targeting. because this day we have everything from everything. You have iPad Pro in landscape mode, more than 1,300 pixels. It's definitely a desktop resolution. And what about with the folded screen that will come along? This will be what? Is a mobile tablet? You can never guess which devices you are trying to get. And don't even try to guess which devices you are targeting. When you're making a good responsive web design, you need just to know that your website will look good in all verses of width of screens. You're making one website that works in every width of the screen. You don't even try to target any device. And just because of that, I'm not calling the breakpoints mobile, tablet, or desktop, because I don't want that I will use this dialogue between other developers, project manager, I don't care. Because if you use this dialogue, they will ask you a stupid question why I'm seeing tablet in a mobile. Okay? You can create it in other names, narrow, medium screen, big screen, these are good names too. I'm preferring like this. I always remember break 1 is the mobile, is the starting point, okay? And 2 is bigger than mobile, and 3 is bigger than the second one. Understood the idea?
Yeah.
I will talk to you here in a mobile, tablet, desktop only because it will be more easier for you to understand me. But don't take this vocabulary to your company. Okay. And to apply those SAS variables of those breakpoints is very easily using the media rule, the hashtag letter, and the curly brackets. Inside them you put the SAS variables. You cannot just write the SAS variable here, it won't work, you have to write it like that. And now, when you want to update the media rules, you update them in one place, and it's just work for you in all those 70 components. And you can make only one mistake and solve it again in 1 second. Understand the idea? Yes?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Open or close breakpoints. Anybody knows those terms? Yes? If you don't know those terms, don't feel bad. I created those terms. In 2013, after I done a lot of research and play a lot with responsive, I created the new first responsive web design of our company. I wrote in articles in medium.com, and I wrote a lot of things that didn't have any terms. And when there is no terms, I wanted to create a language between other developers and me. And I remember that one of the reader is a US guy that's writing a CSS learning book. And he asked me, from where you get all these terms? I searched in the internet, and I didn't find anything about those terms. I told him that there were none, any terms like that. And I just needed to create those terms that we can have a dialogue between us. And this, a lot of time I'm creating my terms, because there are none. But if they are not good names, what to do? There are now 6 years in the web and I cannot change them. Does anybody has an idea what is open breakpoints, close breakpoints? And let's explain them. Open breakpoints is a breakpoint that start in a specific position, for example, a minimum width of 500 pixels and doesn't end any end. It means that it's targeting a screen of 500 pixel, 1000 pixel, 2000 pixel, 4000 pixel, infinite. Yes, it's open breakpoint. Close breakpoints have a start position, let's say for example minimum width of 500 pixel, and have an end of, for example, max width of 1000 pixel, with an opening and an end. Okay? Which is better? Open breakpoints or close breakpoints?
Depends on the problem.
Yeah.
Depends on the problem. I'm saying not depends on the problem.
Both.
Both? No. And it's from my perspective, yes? Of course, yeah?
Open.
Open. Why is that?
Because you can just
I don't know. Say.
You say open, yes?
Yes, because you can.
Let's talk about open. I will talk about
להוסיף
Yeah,
מה?
let's talk about open. Let's talk about
Okay.
open.
I don't-
This is a real example of the Guardian website. I think one of the web developers that creating is very good in CSS. I think Peter or something. I don't remember exactly his name. The Guardian website was one of the first amazing website in responsive web design. Really amazing, really good website. Performance in everything. But when I'm debugging his code, and when I'm started in the first 2 weeks of my life to writing a responsive web design, I wrote it in the same way. In the same way, what it means that the best practice of the web is the mobile first, and with open breakpoints. And I don't like open breakpoints, and I will explain you why. When you're working with open breakpoints, it means first you're writing the basic style of the mobile. Here are the basic styles. And when you have a bigger screen, you need to override this style. And when you have a bigger screen, you have to override this style again. And in the bigger screen, again. And again, and again, and again. And why its overrides are so bad? You know, everybody when they're learning CSS, you write CSS with overrides. This is the way of CSS. I don't agree with that. I think it's okay in some cases. It's okay maybe to override in 5%. But when you're creating your own style, you cannot be in 100% with no overrides, but try to be in 95% in no overrides. And why is that? Because when you're debugging your own code, and you see all those lines, cross lines, you don't understand what your CSS is doing. You don't understand why there is all this override. And this is a very basic example. It can get a lot worse than that. A lot in overrides, a lot. And the second problem with that, it's when I'm trying to, the project manager asked me to add some padding in the middle breakpoint, only here. Why? Now I need to override it in here? Why? And if we're working in a closed breakpoint, it means that we just see our necessary styles with no overrides. Because if these breakpoints were closing, in the basic style, we're just adding the display block and nothing but by that. And in the upper breakpoints, it will be just these two styles, and all the other style I won't see when I'm debugging my own code, because there's closed breakpoints. The breakpoints we are seeing, they are just the breakpoints that take effect. Understand why open breakpoints is? Yes?
Yes.
But what
Okay.
about the default?
What about the default? I will talk about them, I promise. If you have some style that is correct for all the breakpoints, yes, put him here without any
They
breakpoints.
open.
It's not a breakpoint. Okay. Prefer to use only closed breakpoints unless it's the last breakpoint. The last breakpoint has to be open, because let's say the last breakpoint is starting in 1200 pixels and it needs to be open infinite, yes? And it won't affect all the other breakpoints. All the other are closed. The last one is the big one for 1200 pixels and above, to targeting all devices that we'll maybe have in the future that are huge. And we're still not making any overrides. But there is a good question. What if we need the same styles for more than from 2 breakpoints? If I need the same style for 2 breakpoints or more?
Makes sense.
Mixing, you're saying. But what is the problem with mixing?
Duplicate the code.
Duplicate code. I don't want any duplication.
Import.
Import. No, import is the same duplication, I think. Import another file, but
Yeah.
no, you don't want to.
Variable.
No.
Put it in the base.
It's so easy when you're understanding the small things in CSS. And this is one of the best tips I can give, another one of the best tips for today. If we have closed breakpoints, and now I need for 2 breakpoints, for example, the same style, I can use the comma sign. Major rule, break 2, comma, break 3. It means if those styles of this breakpoint are correct, do it. And if not, check if these styles are correct and do it again. this breakpoint or this breakpoint. Yes, not and. And it's the both breakpoints and it won't work. Comma, yes, or.
Is this valid CSS?
This,
Or just us?
this, if we have here a SAS variable.
Yeah, but
The comma, yes, it exists in CSS. It exists in CSS, yes, of course. This way, we created the same style for more than 2 breakpoints and up. Yes, 2 or more breakpoints. And it can get a lot better with CloseBreakpoints. You can do everything that you like. Now we'll ask you another question. Let's think that we have a 2/3 of a main content website and 1/3 of the sidebar. Okay until now? And in the sidebar that is 300 pixels, we have a box component. Let's call it a box component. And this component is sitting in the side, it's 300 pixels. But in tablet resolution, the main sidebar is falling under the main component and it's beginning to be the same width as the main component. It means for now the main component and the sidebar component is 800 pixels, the same. And in a smaller screen, they are both beginning to be small. And now the question is, what if I want to create the same style for the mobile and the desktop, but not for the tablet? How I'm doing it?
You can use the Shechter first approach.
Okay. Ah?
Not.
No. I told you the answer. You just need to play with the answer. It's so easy. The same style for the mobile and the desktop, but not for the tablet.
Breakpoint.
Huh?
It's breakpoint.
Very-
Break 1 and break 3.
Break?
Break 1 and 3.
Yes, correct. Break, we can just put here break 1, comma, break 3. It means that it just take an effect on the mobile and the desktop, and the tablet, we don't see those styles. And now I need some style for the tablet breakpoint that is called break 2. What I'm doing?
New medium.
A new media rule. This will be for the break 1, break 3, for the mobile and the desktop breakpoint, and another breakpoint for the tablet. And it's a magic, think about it. If I'm changing style for the tablet, is it override the style of the mobile or desktop? And if I'm changing the style of the mobile and the desktop, is it overriding the tablet? This is a big power. You're changing your style in response and you don't afraid to break your own rules. This is a really big magic. Okay, back to the question.
You say it
Mobile
already.
first or desktop first? Which is better?
You say it already when you talk.
No,
Yeah.
but this is methodology. Methodology is saying that I'm starting in the mobile website, the base styles are starting in the mobile, or the best style is starting on the desktop.
Mobile.
Ma?
Mobile.
Mobile.
Okay.
Middle, זה.
Mobile.
Let's talk about a real case study in my life. I told you I was working 6 years in Walla News, a big media company in Israel. And this main navigation, main header, how do you want to call him? This was the design for the desktop, and this is the design for the mobile and tablet. And when I first created, I created a desktop first only because I needed to support Internet Explorer 7 and Internet Explorer 8. And this was the first style, and in the mobile I done tons of overrides. My style looks like shit in the mobile. Nobody can read it, even not me. And it was so bad, really so bad. And but when I wrote it, I have an idea how to create it a lot better. And I think 2 years after, they told me that I don't need to support Internet Explorer 7 and Internet Explorer 8. And I done it very quietly, and I just update the style. But before I am telling you my approach for that, let's say we're writing the first style for the mobile without any breakpoints. If I'm creating all the style for the mobiles without any breakpoints, I need to do tons of overrides for the desktop, because in this case there isn't any connection between those two designs. It's the same HTML, but no connection between the designs. Yes, understand? Yeah? And this is a problem because when you are planning your responsive website, you want to plan it good. And I gave you a lot of tips of how I'm working with responsive design. And I have a solution in my mind. And this is my idea, and I wrote it in the 2013 article. It's another new terms that I've created. I decided that I don't like those two methodologies of mobile first and desktop first. And a lot of time, a lot of web developers are reading some cool article in the web and thinking this is how things need to do. And they don't even opening their head maybe to think or to try to do something different. And when I saw the mobile first, I didn't like it. It was nicer than desktop first, but it isn't so much good. And I created my own solution. I call it basic first. And what is my new solution for that? My new solution is saying only one thing. Only if we have the common style for all those breakpoints, we will put them in the top without any major rules. But in this specific component, there isn't any logical idea with the both of them. They're both so much different. Yes, the mobile and the desktop main navigation is so different. I don't want to use any common style. There are non-common styles in this specific component. If there is, yes, put them on here. But in this specific component, there are none. And all the style put on those major rules. And how I create it? I put the styles of the side main navigation in the mobile and tablet in the closed major rules of break 1 and break 2. Okay? And now, if I'm opening and showing this to you on desktop, what will happen in the desktop screen? I just added the style here for the mobile and tablet. What will happen in desktop?
Break 3.
Yes, but the break fee is now empty.
The common style.
How the style will look like?
Common style.
No style.
No style, because I know common style. No style at all. And if I'm changing here something, nothing will happen here. And now I'm just adding the style for the desktop screen here. And it's so powerful. I'm now changing the style here. Is it affecting the desktop?
No.
I'm changing the style in the desktop. Is it affecting the mobile or the tablet? No overrides, friends. No overrides. You are now changing your style in the responsive website, and you don't afraid that it will break. And I see a lot of web developers that's so afraid to do responsive web design. They're using everything and they don't want to even try to write CSS for responsive website because they think it's so hard. But it can be so easy. You just need to write it correct. And everyone understand the idea of the basic first methodology? Yes?
What do you think about using CSS variables, not stance
You
variables?
cannot use CSS variable inside the major rule.
Cannot?
Yes, only on the property value. For now, maybe in the future, I hope we can use it everywhere. Okay?
What about different style sheets, like one for mobile, one for desktop, stuff like that?
Different?
files, for example.
I told you in the beginning I'm not writing the different files, but if you're thinking that you have maybe a good idea how to create a new methodology or a new way to write it, go ahead. But it needs to be a lot readability for other developers is the first thing that you need to put in your mind. Okay?
Here is no, you don't need to write hashtag.
No, sorry, this is less variables.
Less.
This is, yeah, you need to use it with the hashtag and all
Yes.
the curly brackets, yes, and the $sign, yes. This is an old. Okay. Which are the best breakpoints? A lot of web developer is asking me all the time where to put those breakpoints, and they think it's very hard to understand when to put it in 400, 500, 600, 700. Which are those magic words or best breakpoints that we have? I'm not even trying to guess the breakpoints. It's much easier for me to understand it from the designer sketches. And how I understand it from the designer sketches, let's say, for example, the design gave me 3 sketches, okay? 3 sketches. One for the mobile, 320 pixel, one for the tablet, 768 pixel, and one for the desktop, 1200 pixels, okay? Now I need to create from this my own breakpoints, yes? And it's so much easy. You take the last breakpoints, the top breakpoints, that is 1200 pixel, and this is the starting point of the upper breakpoint. The upper breakpoint is starting in 1200 pixel and above. Now the second breakpoint, we have the tablet design, that is 768 pixel design. The second breakpoint will start in 768 pixel and will finish 1 pixel before, because we don't use the breakpoints will overlap, as it will start in 768 pixel and finish in 1199 pixel. Okay? And now for the easiest, we have the mobile design that is starting in 320 pixel. You don't want to start in 320 pixel because you maybe have some screen that is narrow than 320 pixel. And you want, even if you want to work good, you prefer some styles with none of the styles. And you just need to know where the mobile breakpoint is ending. As you just ending 1 pixel less than the tablet. If the tablet is starting at 768 pixel, the mobile will end on 767 pixel. Okay? From 0, you don't need to write the 0, just max width of 767 pixel. Understand how I'm creating my breakpoints? I'm not trying to guess. I'm not trying to think what is the best breakpoint. The designer give me the breakpoints, even if you don't know that he give me the breakpoints. Yes?
In the same example, the designer gave you a mobile design, and now you have your mobile on landscape. And what design you should see? You need to see the tablet design or the mobile design?
I don't care. I don't care about if the screen is like this or this. If the web designer gave me 320 pixel and the second design is 768 pixel and this is 800 pixel, I'm seeing here the tablet and I don't care. I'm targeting only the width of the screen. What happens if you see a responsive website in the desktop in narrow screen? You're seeing the mobile. What the project manager will ask you why I'm seeing mobile in the desktop. This is how a responsive website works.
Yeah.
One website to all devices widths that will work.
Yeah,
You don't.
When the user see the portrait design and then turn it to landscape, the design is really changing because.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay, absolutely okay. And to tell you the truth, I'm not thinking that there is anyone that almost tried to use the website like this in a mobile. Sorry if there, and if there is, you will see what you will see.
I do it often.
Ah,
I do it often.
what?
I use it a lot. I turn a lot my phone.
Ah, okay.
Because I have more text that I can read.
This is the most smarter people use the phone like this.
The question is, it's like what percentage of people in the world do it?
Yeah. I
Probably
think
very
it,
little.
yes.
What is the start point of the pixel for the mobile to start with?
The starting is 0.
0?
Yes, you don't even need to write it. Because you want to target all the screen that there is from the 767 and less.
So it is an open breakpoint.
No, it's closed because it's starting at 0
It's open.
and end on
It's open to
767
negative,
pixels. It's closed. It's with only one place to writing, but it's closed.
Okay.
The second question, that is very similar, is how many breakpoints I need to use in a responsive website. I don't decide it, because who deciding it's the web designer. And in the same way, and sometimes you will get only 2 design sketches. For example, only mobile and only desktop. And yes, it means that you will show in a larger screen, even of 1000 pixel maybe, the designs of the mobile. And this sometimes because there isn't so much screen in the tablet width of, let's say for example, between 600 pixel to 1200 pixel, a lot of companies don't so much care about those ranges, okay? And most of the website, bigger website, yes, they're using 3 and more to 4 breakpoints. More than 4 breakpoints, it's becoming to be very dangerous in understanding your code. Because if you have, let's say, for example, 5 breakpoints, you're beginning to lose the understanding of your own code. I think the 4 breakpoints is more than enough, and not there. But maybe you have you will need 5, but try to be in maximum breakpoints of 4 breakpoints. Okay?
What to do with Mac?
What is the
Resolution of Mac? Resolution is
There is a very different resolution between CSS resolution to device resolution. I try to remember in one of the mobile devices. I think in Samsung Galaxy S10, sorry, in Samsung Galaxy S10, I think it's something like 1,440 pixel resolution device to 3,440 pixel. But when you're targeting CSS responsive design, the responsive design does not make an effect. It doesn't looking on the device resolution. For every screen resolution, there is a CSS resolution. And if I'm not mistaken, is you need to divide it into 4 in a Samsung Galaxy S10. Okay, and it doesn't matter because they're creating a CSS resolution that will act according to what you want to see. Okay, it doesn't affect like it's 1,450 pixel width. It will act something like how much is
2,000.
No. It will act something like 360 pixel in divided to 4. The 1,100 and 440. Every devices that you want to understand how it act like, search in the Google Samsung Galaxy S10, sorry. sorry.
It's came with the accent, so it's fine.
Sorry. Search in the Google Samsung Galaxy S10 CSS resolution, and you will get the CSS resolution. Okay? Okay, and you will find the real CSS resolution. Only for the video and pictures, they're using this all the high density screen. Okay, but the CSS resolution is acting like a small resolution, and it's good because you don't want to see her desktop screen. Yes, it was a very good question. Any more questions? We are almost at the end.
It works the same in the TV application resolution?
Yes, it's work correctly in every situation. Believe me, you don't need to be afraid from that. I was afraid when I first creating the responsive website because all the mobile screen today are Retina screen, high density screen, and I was afraid. I thought, how this that? I will see her desktop? No, you won't see her desktop. You see what you need to get. Check the CSS resolution for every screen, and you see it's good. It's what I need. Okay.
Now, if my application is one page,
yes,
I don't have scroll bar, so the favorite bookmarks get the height, so the viewport is changed.
I don't think I understand the question.
When my application with one page, not have scroll.
Yes.
So the height is fixed.
Yes.
But the bookmarks bar, it's changed the viewport.
Yes.
It's affect the responsive.
I don't. Let's say if you find any problem, ask me in the CSS Master Israel Facebook group. Okay. Yes.
Let's say on my mobile I want to go from mobile view to desktop view.
Oh, it's a hard question. But why we want to do such thing?
Some sites don't have all the options.
I will tell you one thing. I created when I was working at one company. If you will see, I have an. If you try, there is a button that created in the desktop view, and what it's doing, it's adding a class to the HTML, and inside every major rule, it's asking if it's a desktop view. But it's a lot of shit for your code. I don't think that these days we need such thing. Don't try to do it. It's very bad.
You can emulate it over the browser.
Huh?
You can easily emulate it over the browser. You just say open as desktop.
I didn't know because
And I use it every day.
I learned something new today.
Not 100% accurate. On Google, yeah.
On Chrome.
But on Google.com it would work like that. On other CSS, on other websites that implement responsive,
So when GitHub is definitely responsive, and I use the desktop through GitHub every day, and there it works.
Okay. Okay. Maybe there is a situation. Let's check it out. Let's ask a question in the CSS Master Israel group, and maybe I will learn something new. Any more questions? Before we finish, this is the QR code to joining the CSS Master Israel group. The presentation will be there when we finish. There are more links to the CSS Master International group, on Twitter, all my articles on medium.com, and I'm now writing so much things on CSS. And thank you all very much.